Good morning. I'm in one of the hills around Bethshemesh, not so far away from Jerusalem, not so far away from Ashkelon and Ashdod. Actually at the border between the Philistines area, which is there, the area of Emek Elah, the Elah Valley, which is the Goliath and King David, or David at that time, war. And for so many years people actually traveled here, but only at the 19th century someone actually mentioned that that place that we are climbing to, it is a place to be excavated. Now, how we choose place to excavate? We have more than 30,000 sites, archaeological sites. Only 1,000 were excavated. We need time, we need money, we need scholars to do that. Then at the 19th century, people mentioned that there's something special on top of the hill. I don't know if you can see, there's kind of a small wall. Right, here it is. We are climbing on it. And it started, at the 1920, the end of the 1920, it started with a student who took his master, that was Yossi Granfikol, and he took him to there and said, I think it's something to discover. It's waiting for us to discover. And he excavated a few years there and find out that that place might be from the time of King David. This is Kh'irbat Qiafa or Qiafa, and we are climbing there. It is a problem. There's so many problems here. One of them is, some people actually said, King David wasn't really a king. If he wasn't king, he lived in a small tent. We didn't find a lot of evidence from his time. The second thing is that we didn't find a lot of evidence, archaeological evidence, except for Jerusalem. And even in Jerusalem, you cannot put a finger and say, that is the palace of King David. Although I believe that it was there. Let me just enter through there. Then when they excavate that place, it actually shows us that King David wasn't so small. His kingdom was bigger than what we actually thought. They know that the Bible actually mentioned that it was so big, but I'm talking about the archaeological evidence. When they discover it, and they discover the walls, the special walls that you can find only in Judea, the houses that were attached to it, then when they discover it, some scholars said, it wasn't from the 10th century BC, it was for the 9th century BC, it was earlier for that. Some say that it was from the Philistines' time, because the Philistines are right there. And the battle is still on. In that case, that tour guide said, you're talking too much. Well, it might be true. Some of you believe that I'm talking too much. Some of you ask me to talk more. Then what he discovered that the walls and the houses looks like from the Judean kingdom, and the vases, all the pottery are from that time. There's no evidence for Philistines settlements there. We didn't find, for example, the bones from pig ponds. 100% of the bones are cattle, kosher cattle. Then in that case, maybe not even that. Some scholars believe that it's actually built by Samaria, the 10 tribes early, but it doesn't look like the northern excavation sites. Then question marks. Let's climb up. Let's see what we can see from there. You can see here the walls of the city. The good thing in that city is that there are only 2 layers here. For example, the palace of King David, we have 4 different layers, 400 years gap between the first one and the last one. Then it's difficult to measure it. It's difficult to know exactly at what time every level was. Here we do have 2. The first one is from the 10th century BC. The second one is from 2nd century BC, and this is a gift for excavators because they can actually know what to do. Now, we have 2 gates here, and we know that it's not a common thing. Usually in a city, you will find only 1 gate, and here we do have 2. That's why so many believes that is Sha'araim. Sha'araim, it's a city, biblical city, mentioned at the time of King David, and we know that when, difficult to see it from here, but the war was somewhere there between Goliath and David. David wasn't king at that time. Then we know that they ran away, the Philistines ran away through the city of Sha'araim. Now, Sha'araim, it's in Hebrew. It's like 2 gates. Sha'ar, it's a gate. Sha'araim, it's 2 gates. Then Finkelstein, a scholar who believes that it was earlier than King David, which is okay, believes that King Saul built it. In that case, it's still from the same time of King David. Then let's go through the first gate, and this is, as I believe, the southern gate. We have another one in the west. We're gonna see it soon, and you will see that it's a beautiful gate. But look at the wall, built with huge stones. There you can see small stones on top of it. We believe that the upper part is from the Hellenistic time, 2nd century BC Hashmonite time, and the lower one is from 10th century BC. Now the wall, it's a kind of the different kind of wall. It's not like one big thick wall. There are 2 walls, and there's a gap between them, and houses between those 2 gaps. Let's go into the city, and you will see what I mean. That is the entrance to the gate. You can see the based stone, which is 20 tons here.
Close this way, and then put the bar behind it.
Then this is the first wall. And then we are talking about the second wall there. And in between, you can see the people live. Actually there, that's the second wall. Then you can see the wall, like 2 different walls. That's the first one, and that's the second one. If the gate was there, then the entrance to the second wall is always to the right of it. The other side, it's to the left of it. Here, in that room, they found a piece of pottery, ostrakon we call it, with a proto-Canaanite language. Now at that time, 10th century, they could write it from right to left, from up to down. It doesn't matter, and you could see it in that pottery, and I will add it to the video later on. But it actually tells us that the 10th century, time of King David, there was a communication in proto-Canaanite language, which is the language that we are using in a way now. Not really, because we are using mainly Aramite letters, but it tells us that there is a communication. We found at that from that time 4 potters with inscription on it. 2 is from Kh'irbat קיאפas. Done. We actually have been here. As you know, if you will activate here, we will find something, I'm sure. And the scholar believes that here there's something special. He believes of it because he look at the. Oh, he's still talking. I don't want to disturb him. No, they're walking. You can see the walls here of the rooms. They're very thin with small stone. Here, there's a big wall with big stones. Then maybe there's something special here. But beside that, that room is important because we find here a vase with the name of a very important name from the 10th century, Ishbal. That can be one of the names of it that we know from the Bible is about the son of King Saul, who actually controlled Israel. He was the king of Israel for 2 years after the death of his father. Another name of him is Ishboshet, but Ishbal we have 4 times in the Bible, all of them at the time of King David. Then, if you're talking about the rooms, you can see the huge stones here. This is the first wall, and remember there's a gap, another part of the wall here, and this is the room that we found the Ishbal. The entrance, as you can see, is from there, and the entrance to the room between the walls is right here, right time. There, they found a bath, but they decided not to move it. They were afraid that they will destroy it. Then, in that case, they cover it. Let's continue the tour in Tel Kafaya or Kh'irbet Kafaya or Sha'araim, 2 gates.
למעשה אנחנו נמצאים בתוך תחום שאסור בכלל ללכת.
נכון.
פעם זה לא היה.
אבל עכשיו הם עושים את זה כדי
Above, that is the room that we find vases with the inscription of this. That area is the area of the secret area, and we found here 2 models of might be the temple of King Solomon, son of King David. Then in that case it's another symbol for us, another way for us to say this is it. This is from the time of King Solomon and King David. And you can see there another gate, the other gate. Remember Sha'araim, 2 gates? Here it is in front of you. Of course, I will add some pictures of the temple, but that were found here. You can see the gate again, but might be a quarry. The stones of this place, Sha'araim, came from somewhere, and we found few quarries here. What we didn't find yet is a water source, not water system. Then maybe in the regular time, this time, the women had to go all the way to the valley to get some water. But we have to excavate to find more evidence for it. We're now on top of the Kh'irbet, Sha'araim, Tel El Qiafa, and in that area we found some evidence for the government house or palace, and as the excavator mentioned, when King David came, maybe he came to here. he slept here. I don't know if it's true or not, but what you see here is mostly Byzantine time. Then in that case, it was kind of agricultural farm. Sadly, it destroyed most of the government house, and for that, oops, only few things left. For example, here you can see that the stones are, oops, thicker than the regular houses. The government house. Here it is in front of you, and we are now going out from the second gate. We enter from one, go out from the second one. Go out from the second one. Then we are going out from the gate. See the chambers, maybe for the one to care that no enemy will enter through it. It is. Oops. Then maybe this is one of the most important evidence for the existence of King David in that area as well. Then there are some question marks, but there are so many other evidence that actually can prove it. You can see the gate from the other side, and Bet Shemesh, which is another biblical city, behind it, let's say 20 miles from here, it's Jerusalem. This is the mountains of Judea, and the city of Hebron is there. And this is the valley of Elah Valley. And the battle of King David and Goliath was right here. Then the other side of it, it's already the Philistines area. And that is one of the reasons that that city was built here, to protect the area, to say to the Philistines, this is not yours, this is ours. And although we know that it's been destroyed, but we didn't find here any evidence of war, we might think that some of them, don't worry, I'm not, some of them, some people believe that the Philistines actually conquered it. Why they did it? Because in that area you could find a lot of wood, and that is one thing that the Philistines, according to the excavator, needed. Nice, isn't it? This is another, I think, beautiful video of places that are being excavated lately, and still there's a lot of research, a lot to talk about, a lot to excavate. You can see part of the walls here, but wonderful evidence. Now, if you like that video, please subscribe my channel, and if you want to support, because we are celebrating now another celebration next month. I will actually celebrate 2 years without tourists in Israel. Then at the description you will find buy me a coffee link, and if you want to do that, please do that. There's a lot of information about how to contact me through the description. And if you won't find it, please write me a message via YouTube, and I will send you the link for buy me a coffee. Thank you very much for being with me. Bye bye.